In a recent Gamescom interview, Rich Lambert said the non-linear play in any order story format never made sense from a story perspective, and in Solstice, it's their first step to move away from that. So the whole story timeline progression that Solstice brought to the game is the way they want to do all content going forward. Before I get into all the details, be sure if you enjoy the video to hit the like button. If you have not subscribed to the channel, hit that sub button as well. And check out Control Freak. All their information is down in the description. And you can use my code to save yourself 12% off at checkout. The future story content will follow an actual storyline, an actual timeline. He said the Solstice timeline progression went over really well. So it seems like the community really liked that. I've not really seen them ask that question a lot, personally, if they liked the way that they handled the timeline, but apparently the team there at ZOS thinks it was a really good idea. They said that the Solstice timeline progression and possibly can be kind of pushed even further. That whole frozen in time kind of idea like they had in previous chapters where all stories took place in a certain time frame in the Elder Scrolls Online was very limiting, and they have a recent internal discussion about that and how they're going to move that timeline forward. So it seems like they're wanting to get away from just having everything in this certain time period within ESO. And we know in previous interviews, Rich has said before, they have kind of free reign to do whatever they want in a certain time frame because that's kind of where they want the game to be. Anything else is still the Elder Scrolls timeline. So Elder Scrolls 6 will fit into that timeline somewhere. And all previous or Elder Scrolls games and ESO fit in that timeline as well. So it looks like they have a little more leeway here of how they want to do this. And I think one thing that kind of concerned people when they heard this was, will they go back into past story content and kind of do the same thing here with these timelines? And will that still allow me to play the game any way I want, in any order I want, or is this going to actually lock the story content? And I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think story content is going to be locked, and if you buy ESO today, you would have to play, you know, the base story all the way up until the current Solstice DLC in a certain order. I don't think that's going to happen. I do think that they will probably somehow set up a timeline for players to see what order the story is going in. So if you do want to play it in an order, you can see that. If you don't, that's perfectly okay. I'm hoping at least that's what they're doing. That's just my guess. I don't think they're going to start locking story content. But the way they did the story inside of Solstice, I thought it was handled well, timeline-wise. I thought the way they did everything was good. Personally, for me, I didn't really see a problem with it. I will be kind of curious to see how this is going to work going forward. Are they going to bounce back and forth within this timeline? Or is everything that's going to happen in every season we get from now on going to be, after Solstice? Or is there going to be something before Solstice? Also, the thing I'm kind of curious about is how Solstice is going to work for new players after the wall event happens. So let's say you buy Solstice a year down the road. You just started playing ESO. Of course, we know right now we're all waiting for the wall event, and that's going to change Solstice and open up the other side, of the area of the zone there. But for a new player a year down the road, that wall event's not going to be there. So is that story really going to make sense? Because it's kind of building up that whole wall event idea. So that's kind of the one area that I'm not sure how they're going to adopt all of this going forward with this new timeline, thing that they're wanting to do. Because I assume this wall event, this group event, this big server-wide event is going to be something they're wanting to do in the game going forward. Because it's always been some kind of event inside the game that players can go do together. But it's just within that zone. The new zones have always had something. It started with Dolmens, and it's kind of ended up to where we're at now. And a server-wide event is something we've definitely not had in the past. And I was kind of wondering if that's going to be the new idea for the next several years. There's always going to be this big kind of wide open server event every year. We'll have to wait and see. But timeline-wise, I'm very curious how this is going to work. Because if you start adding things like this into the game, it makes it hard to me, I guess, to kind of see how it's going to work for new players, because they're going to be a bit confused when there's no wall event there anymore, because it was over however long ago before they started playing. So overall, I like the idea of what they're doing here. I'm just going to be kind of curious to see how they implement it into the Elder Scrolls Online. Give me a comment with your thoughts. Let me know what you think. And of course, if you like the video, hit the like If you have not subscribed yet, please do so, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.